Want to cook a little bit more vegan but don't know where to start?
Today we've got some easy vegan swaps for you.
Veggie Magnifique.
Hello, I'm Anne.
And I'm Chloe.
And we are Veggie Magnifique, a holistic wellness and vegan lifestyle blog.
Today we're going to share our favourite vegan swaps for making food meaty and creamy and cheesy.
And we're also going to share a few easy baking swaps to make sure that your baking is delicious but also vegan. Now, these tips are going to help you to healthify your diet but also help you to eat with more compassion.
So there are two levels to this approach. There are the fake meats, the imitation meats, and there's also the whole foods that taste kind of meaty. Those fake meats are processed, but they're great if you're a new veggie and you're kind of used to that really meaty texture and taste.
So let's talk about meaty textures and meat. For the meaters, those who like the texture of meat, you can go to any organic store and find vegan beef, vegan chicken, vegan seafood. Those kinds of things are in abundance these days, especially in the UK and the United States. It's a little bit more difficult in France. However, we have Aujourd'hui Demain, Un Monde Vegan, Mon Épicerie Bio, these places in Paris, which have an abundance of choice, really. So some of the main meat replacements are tofu, tempeh, lupin, seitan, and there's even things like vegan bacon. You'd be amazed at how many meat replacements that there are in terms of really reproducing the texture.
So for the more whole food meat swaps, you can rely on lentils and beans and chickpeas. You can make falafel, and a super meaty veggie is the mushroom, which we've used to make a delicious bourguignon, and we'll link the recipe below.
So remember, one of the reasons that you think you like meat is the flavor, and that usually comes from herbs, spices, and/or sauces. So don't be afraid to use delicious creamy sauces that we're going to talk about a little bit later, as well as spices and herbs, thyme, oregano, cumin. You can go crazy, and these kinds of things are really going to flavor up your meal to taste like those meat dishes that you are trying to avoid.
So to replace butter in baking, you can use coconut oil or olive oil, or you can even make your own vegan butter from cashews. Now this recipe is amazing. It's on our blog and it's by the wonderful Una B, and we will link that one too. If you don't have this vegan butter in your life, then you're missing out.
Just really quick, talking about baking and butter, I wanted to mention an amazing frosting recipe, which is literally 3 ingredients: maple syrup, cacao powder, and a vegan butter. You blend all that up and it tastes just like frosting. And it's healthier because you're just using maple syrup and then the powder comes from the cacao instead of, say, using powdered sugar. So let's talk about eggs. When you're using eggs in baking, they're really easy to replace. So you've got the flax egg and the chia egg. So what you can do is just 1 tablespoon of ground chia or ground flax to like 3 parts water, and then you just mix it up and let it sit, and then it'll get kind of viscous and gooey like an egg, and then you can add it to any baked goods. Another thing is applesauce, and say even like a mushed banana. That's gonna help to kind of moisten your baking and baked goods. And then another thing is like chemically, you can mix apple cider vinegar and baking soda when you're baking, and that's gonna create a foamy raising agent in your baking.
Oh, and just as an aside, since we're talking about eggs, you can also make your own vegan scrambled eggs out of tofu and a little pinch of turmeric and some black salt, which is called kala namak, which is a sulfurized salt, and it has a kind of eggy flavor.
It's very eggy.
Yeah, it's very convincing. So if you're a scrambled egg lover, then definitely try this recipe.
And if you're really into eggy eggs, check out Avant-Garde Vegan's YouTube channel, because he's recreated soft boiled egg and he does incredible things over there. So if you missed that, yolky color or texture, definitely check out his channel because he's brilliant. So instead of, say, bone broth, this is we'll link some things about that, but instead of that type of broth, it's actually very easy to swap out. You just use miso paste with water, or you can use vegetable broth, obviously, but miso paste is amazing because it really packs the punch in terms of flavor and nutrition because it's a fermented food. So we use miso paste all the time to flavor sauces, to flavor basically any dish, whether it's while we're sauteing, because we use less oil these days, so we often will saute in water with miso. It'll just really take your taste buds for a ride.
So the thing about cheese is that it's addictive. It contains opiates called casomorphines, and those opiates keep the baby cow coming back and you. And you don't want to be held hostage by these opiates. You want to be free to choose whatever food you know supports your health and is delicious. So it's time to say goodbye to the cheese and move on to those plant cheeses that are proliferating at the moment. Any health food store is going to carry a vegan cheese. In Paris, it's a veritable vegan cheese revolution at the moment. If you've ever been to Aujourd'hui Demain, Mon Épicerie Bio, Almond Vegan, there's vegan cheese a go-go. And I was back in the UK over Christmas and was amazed to see a whole vegan cheese section in just a regular supermarket in like the middle of nowhere. Incredible. So
Amazing.
there's a vegan cheese for everyone. You have to kind of like taste different types and kind of like find the one that works for you. But certainly you want to get those concentrated casomorphines out of your body.
So another thing is a vegan's best friend, nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast, in addition to being packed with delicious B vitamins, it's also incredibly cheesy. And you can put it on top of pasta, you can mix it into sauces, salad dressings, you can just really put it on any dish you want. It's so delicious, it's so cheesy.
So if you're a fan of Parmesan, you can easily replace that by blending cashews and garlic and a pinch of salt. And that is a crumbly, delicious topping for any pasta dish, or it's just divine. And it really does taste like Parmesan.
And it's healthier
Healthier.
by like a million.
Mm-hmm.
So more about cashews. They are your go-to for the creamy texture. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can achieve a creamy texture on a vegan diet, whether that's vegan creamers. There's so many in the stores now, whether it's oat or soy, there's a million. But what we use to make things creamy is we take cashews and we either soak them, or if you have a powerful blender, you can just chuck them in with some water or a sauce. You can make creamy soups, you can make mac and cheese. Cashews really are the creamiest creamsters, and they're gonna really take your cooking to a creamier level while boosting your levels of niacin, which is good for depression, and all the other benefits that come from eating a delicious nut instead of an animal product.
So one plant product that's incredibly creamy is coconut cream. I love to add this to all of my dals. So good. So yeah, it's super creamy and thick and divine. And also, of course, avocados are your best friend. They're so delicious. You can make them into sauces. You can blend them into a smoothie. You can make pesto with them. They're just incredible. And they are filled with healthy fats and amazing vitamins and everything.
So really quick, let's talk about milk. Now this is the easiest thing to swap out. You probably already do. However, just as a little note, try different plant milks to find which one floats your boat. There's soy, oat, coconut, hemp seed. There's so many different plant milks, and you can also make them at home. We will link a video about that, but this is one of the easiest ways that you can avoid dairy is with a plant milk. Again, we use a lot of different ones depending on what we're making because they each have kind of a different quality, which is nice. It gives you a variety. And another thing is when you're baking, you might want a buttermilk, and you can just add a little bit of lemon or apple cider vinegar, and then you'll recreate that kind of buttermilkiness like if you're making pancakes or something.
So we truly hope that these easy vegan swaps have been helpful to you and that you apply them in your daily cooking arsenal. And if you have any extra tips and tricks to share with us, then please leave them in the comments below. We are very eager to hear how you veganize your dishes.
Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone who you know has been trying to make things a bit more vegan or who has been struggling with how to replace the creamy and the cheesy and the meaty. We'd be grateful if you'd share this video.
So, bon appetit!
Minus the bone.
That was very Michael Greger, I liked it. Minus the bone.
Minus the bone.
Okay, I think we got it all in one.
Hooray! So you can kind of like put it everywhere willy-nilly if you really like that cheese flavor. I know I do.
That kind of sounds sexual.
Oh, sorry.
Everywhere.
Oh.
I don't know. It just made me think of like weird images. I'm sorry. Maybe it's my mind that's just like odd.